Alright guys, so time is now for a showdown between the Tomb Kings, who are going to be led by Ark in the Black, and the Empire, who's going to be led by Boris Todbringer and his powerful mustache. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So here in the front line, we do have a couple groups of the Nehekar warriors, 2 in total, and they're going to be anchored by the Kepra guard. So the warriors do okay against most state troops. They have relatively good melee attack by Tomb King standards, and they also do have 33 weapon strength. Now, relatively low armor piercing values overall, so they won't do as well against greatswords, but again, against most state troops and the more typical Empire builds, they should be fine. Here in the center, we do have the Kepra guard, as we said, and they're basically like the Sternsmen of the Tomb Kings. Really good stats, 38, 36. They also do magic damage, which can be pertinent, and 47 weapon strength, plus they regenerate, so you don't have to babysit them too much. They do well in most matchups, even against like armored infantry, they can perform because of their durability, and yeah, just pretty solid stuff. On the flanks, we do have 2 halberds as well. Halberd's pretty important against the Empire. Oftentimes, Imperial players are just going to be spamming heavy caps. You're going to be seeing Reichsguard, Empire Knights, Demogryph Knights. So it's really nice to have some dedicated, anti-large, armor-piercing, charge defense. And on top of that, the Empire also does like to use Pistoliers and Outriders and things like that. So having these silver shields on them is also quite useful. So overall, our strategy is going to be a little bit defensive. We're going to be using the Ushabti Great Bows to kind of sit back and take out the heavy cav and the high value targets. We're then going to be trying to defend with Ark in the Black, as well as 2 Tomb Princes, both of whom are very good against Boris Todbringer and the big flying Imperial Lords. So that's pretty much it for our army. We do have a couple groups of carrion on the flanks, which are going to be doing some harassing, chasing down Pistoliers, just kind of scouting around the battlefield, giving me some control. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So for my opponent, definitely a very solid army. So he does have a Celestial Wizard here with the Wind Blast. So basically what this guy does is the whole game, he's just going to be waiting for your Tomb King's infantry to line up, and he's going to be roasting them with Wind Blast. For anyone who's looking to play Empire against Tomb Kings, it is so damn powerful. If you delay the battle for a little bit of time and you're able to get like 2 or 3 casts off, you can have their entire front line pretty much in shambles before the fighting starts. So it's very, very good. He's got Boris Todbringer up here ready to party with his mustache, as we did say. 4 groups of the Greatswords, which are also a pretty good choice. Tomb Kings can't really deal with armored infantry very well with their infantry. Yes, you can use constructs and things like that. But personally, I didn't bring heavy constructs because I was going to be respecting the Empire powder and their ability to take down big constructs. So definitely a very solid play here. Kind of surprising me. I was expecting state troops, and as you can see, my front line was kind of accommodating for that. I was expecting like maybe some spearmen with shields and just chaff front liners, and a ton of heavy cav and big targets. But he actually mind gave me a little bit and brought 4 groups of the Greatsword, so definitely quite solid. He does have a Hammer of the Witches in the back, going to be hammering some of these witches, I'm sure. He does have Pistoliers. I think he has 3 in total with some grenade launchers, as well as 1 group of Outriders, which is lurking somewhere on the map. So without further ado, guys, let's get this show on the road and see how it goes. So right now, he's going to be coming in for the Wind Blast, and look at this, just some very, very nice targeting from my opponent, and look how much damage that does. That wasn't even quite a direct hit. Well, it kind of looks like it was, but nonetheless, still some very good value. He could be doing that on the Kepra guard and the Halberds here in a moment. So just going to be scoring up the Ushabti Great Bows, taking some pot shots. I do also get a Spirit Leech on the Celestial Wizard, trying to give it back a little bit and just make sure that I don't go in unscathed here. So in the meantime, my 1 group of carrion is going to be swarming around the back of the map. We're going to be looking to get on this Hammer of the Witches. Hopefully he doesn't notice those guys. And the other one is going to be coming to harass these Pistoliers. Although in these type of numbers, I don't know if these carrion are going to be able to do much. I mean, Pistoliers. I think there's some grenade launchers hidden in here somewhere. No, these are all Pistoliers. So I do attack. I figured I could get some freebies, maybe drive one of them off, or occupy them while I advance forward. So at least my infantry aren't taking the skirmish. And I do get them in melee, so I'm pretty happy about that. But he's just going to be charging in, and he has so many numbers here, it doesn't really matter. Pistoliers have pretty terrible combat stats, but still, it's a numbers game at this point. So he's still flying overhead, probably going to get another Wind Blast. The problem is the Hammer of the Witches is going to do some heavy work, and he gets I think that was an overcasted Wind Blast. The radius seemed a little bit bigger and also did more damage, but very good stuff there, taking some work on these guys, which is going to make my Greatswords, or his Greatswords, that much stronger. But in the back, I get a really good jump. You can see my carrion do get onto the Hammer of the Witches unimpeded, and he doesn't have anything back here to defend, which is very nice. Outriders and Pistoliers are going to be coming in, and grenade launchers should be able to nuke my guys, although some collateral damage blowing up some of his own crew there is quite nice, but yeah, we still shut it down, which is going to be a huge boon here temporarily in the beginning of the battle. So I did see an open target here. My Ushabti Great Bows will be switching on to the Pistoliers and these other targets, and I think we actually do break 1 group, so that was definitely worth it. Those carrion kind of boxed him up and allowed me to get some pot shots, but Hammer of the Witches is doing some really good work against my Ushabti. He's already killed 2 models, which is huge for a high value target like this. And in the meantime, Ark in the Black and company are just going to be scouting about, looking for an opportunity to strike. And his Demogryph Knights are going to be showing their faces now. They were hidden in the forest. So the Nehekar warriors are a pretty great target, so I will be intercepting with the Tomb Princes and my other high value anti-large troops here. We'll also be summoning some skeletons, and I'm pretty sure we countercharge, but he does get another good breath attack. So beautiful nuking here from my opponent using the Celestial Wizard to great effect. So he is going to be trying to retreat. I summoned some skeletons in his path, hoping to get a couple more kills at least, and we definitely should. He's going to be pathing out this way and should be able to get away here, but it looks like we do a little bit more HP damage and also drag down a couple Demogryph Knights. I think it might have only been one. In the meantime, though, I did commit a lot to the front line, so Boris is going to be running back here. The King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion will be trying to intercept him. The Adabuna is going to be going down on the Greatswords. I definitely need it because my warriors in the front are no match for these Greatswords. It's just going to be a massacre if they fight head-to-head. Unbuffed, so the Kepler Guard do charge in. They're able to get like a 2-for-1 wrap here, and you can see the first Realm of Souls has gone down. Over here on the flank, the Tomb Guard with Halberds have engaged the Greatswords, which isn't terrible. And you can see that Boris is doing a ton of great work. He has killed a couple of the Chosen of the Gods. He does get charged by Ark in the Black, who is going to be supported by Tomb Prince and the Spear, so we are able to force him off, which is quite good. Battle's pretty close right now. I wouldn't say there's anyone who's in a clear state of having an advantage here. The Tomb Guards with Halberds are fighting against Greatswords, a little bit surrounded, but the Greatswords are very beat up. I have a Tomb Prince helping out as well, and some Summoned Skeletons who are taking those grenades, which is quite nice. Kepler Guard should be able to beat these Greatswords most likely. I mean, they are taking some Overwatch fire from the Pistoliers. These guys are sitting pretty happily, but that's the thing about going very, I was expecting a ton of heavy cap, right? And all he had was the Demogryph Knight, so really my Shopti Great Bows. I can shoot Boris and the Celestial Wizard, but it's still, they're not the best targets since they do regenerate and they're not going to be losing models. Demogryph Knights are going to be charging back in, it looks like, trying to break my formation here, and I think I'm going to be summoning some Shopti here to support, and the Tomb Prince is going to be fighting as well, but the Shoptis are going to be very, very nice here. So they're going to be fighting against Greatswords. And that's pretty much the ideal matchup. Granted, the Demogryph Knights are going to help out quite a bit there, and I don't think I have any Tomb Guards left. Actually, no, I have 66. They're doing okay. Libra Mortis has gone down, but yeah, the Tomb Prince is taking some work. Frontline engagement going well. We are breaking the Greatswords here. The problem is we don't have any tools to stop the Hammer of the Witches. So in the back, it's going to be doing a ton of work. I get some really solid Shopti Great Bow fire on the Boris right here. So Boris is down to half health. Bouncer power a little bit in my opponent's favor here, and it looks like he is going to be coming in with his Celestial Wizard. So what he's probably going to be doing here is luring in my spears, and then he's going to be casting that spell. What's it called? The Wind Blast. So Wind Blast comes down, it chews up my guys, does about 40% of their HP and damage. I do get a nice little attack right there on the Celestial Wizard before he takes off. So trading, half the health on my King Nikesh's for a little bit of damage, he definitely comes out ahead there. So very, very well played by my opponent. Beautiful stuff. We do break off the Demogryph Knight, so they die to the Halberds and the Ushopti, so we get a nice grab there, which is going to kind of open up the game a little bit. The Hekar warriors are just being kited into the Shadow Realm. My opponent using his Pistoliers and his grenades just to blast these guys. No shields, and that's why Skeleton Warriors in this situation actually might have been a little bit better. Granted, these guys did put up a fight against the Greatswords. In the back, you can see that Boris Todbringer is coming for my Tomb Prince. So right now, I was going to lay a trap for him. So I knew he would go for that bait when I pulled it back. He went for it. I popped Curse to Jaff, which lowers his melee attack as well as rampages him. Now we're going to be charging in for an Alpha Strike. So we're going to be going in. We have King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion, Arkin plus a Tomb Prince going in. Just getting just all balls deep in here. And I believe I do have a Spirit Leech coming off from Arkin's Black, so we should be able to kill Boris. And we were pretty behind in the balance of power, but once we get Boris here in just a moment, you can see he goes down really quick to the double anti-large armor piercing on those Tomb Princes plus Arkin. It's going to creep us back in the game just a little bit. But as far as my opponent's army, he doesn't really have any meat and potatoes left. All of the Greatswords are done, so we killed all 4 of those for the most part. The big problem being is that the Hammer of the Witches is still online, and he also does have these Outriders here, which have some ammunition left, but they should have enough to pick off the remainders of my infantry and my Shopti here, who have taken a ton of damage to this game. So Shopti's definitely going to be crumbling back to the sands here and just, or I guess the dirt, whatever. He doesn't care. He's not picky. So we did decide to move into the forest a little bit and start chasing these Greatswords. Figured that would be pretty important here, because if they come back and they're able to anchor and defend this Hammer of the Witches against my Tomb Princes and stuff, that would be pretty tough. So I want to catch them while they're beat up, not allow them to unify and solidify with the rest of their forces. Right now, we're going to be charging in. You can see the Tomb Prince plus Arkin the Black and the other one are going to be going, and they get a great charge, cleaving a couple of those Greatswords. Very good armor piercing across the board here, and that should break those guys. 3 very, very solid charges, negative 11 leadership. Arkin the Black is evil cackles, I'm sure, driving them into madness there, and you can see they are going to break, but I'm taking a ton of firepower. I mean, it's just brutal stuff, and even though it's not like heavy armor piercing from these Outriders, these Pistoliers, the grenade launchers, it's still adding up, right? It's just the volume of fire. Boris is gone. He does have a Celestial Wizard who could get some pretty decent little rear charges, but the biggest threat to me is going to be the Hammer of the Witches, because if that gets 1 or 2 shots on any of these characters, they're pretty much done for. So Arkin the Black, Staff of Nagash going down. This is a very risky play, but I'm going to be summoning some Skeletons back here to chase down the Cannon Crew, hopefully able to catch those guys. My Spearmen do get compromised by the caster here, the Wizard, but it's not such a bad deal. I do Spirit Leech him, and also getting the anti-large spears in there. We did get some okay damage, so it wasn't the worst situation. Balance power is pretty even. I give or take a little bit my favor at this point, actually. So you can see the Skeleton Warriors are going to be marching after the Hammer of the Witches. We are going to be fighting against Pistoliers, so the Pistoliers have engaged against the Tomb Princes, which is going to be a pretty good matchup for me, but definitely a little bit of a Zerg going on. He does have a lot of Pistoliers. He can afford to just cycle charge, and Hammer of the Witches with a direct hit on Arkin the Black. That was actually a game-changing shot. Now, if that shot had missed or it hadn't landed, I think I would have been in really just perfect shape. Like, he couldn't stop me, but that literally took, like, Arkin from like 1400 HP down to 800, which is now in the danger zone. So beautiful stuff there from my opponent. His cannon crew definitely the heroes of the day, but the skeleton warriors are able to chase him off. He does drop his cannons and start to run, which is a very, very solid high-level play there. And the Pistoliers and company probably going to be charging down here in just a moment. Arkin the Black, of course, is going to be trying to screen him out, but he doesn't have a shield, so a little bit sloppy. I should have sent in the Tomb Princes first to try and screen those guys out, but I wanted to get these great swords. I didn't want them to kind of recuperate and solidify with some of the Outriders and other troops like that. So we're going to be charging those guys. The Celestial Wizard, in the meantime, gets a beautiful Wind Blast. Look at the damage that spell does against Tomb Kings. Brings them down to about 1900 HP, only 95 models up there 150, and he should be able to finish those guys off no problem. And then he can probably reman the Hammer of the Witches, but we do get on the Great Swords right here, so I get a nice little charge with Arkin and the Tomb Princes. They are terrified because of the Tomb Strike I have on the Tomb Princes, but regardless, I'm taking a ton of damage still. Arkin the Black is really low. He has 500 HP. So even these Pistoliers can probably wear him down over a long grindy fight. So he has 41 right here. This group has 40. And another problem is the Hammer of the Witches is going to be back online most likely, and he does also have this Celestial Wizard. So very, very scary stuff here. Pistoliers and Greatswords are coming back up the hill, which is another problem I have to deal with. But again, balance of power relatively even here in the middle. Certainly could go either way at this point. But yeah, the fact that Arkin the Black took that cannonball to the face was just so devastating. I mean, man, I probably should have been more careful with him, but I needed to get in range to summon those skeletons so they didn't have to hoof it too far. But I think that might have been the straw that broke Arkin's back here. So we're going to be charging the cannon crew. I know it needs to be dealt with. Another Spirit Leech going down on the Celestial Wizard. I get a nice charge here with the Tomb Princes, hopefully able to break off those Pistoliers before they start fighting. Arkin charges in. The other one is actually going to be going after the crew, but at this point I can't really get to them. He just has so many troops. So many Pistoliers, all out of ammunition. I popped the Libra Mortis, but he does come in with the Celestial Wizard, and of course flying units can't be countercharged, so Arkin just has to take that one on the dome, and Arkin is going to be put in the trash can. You can see he's just going to disappear and crumble, and down he goes. No evil cackling for him today. And with Arkin's death, the balance of power switches heavily in my opponent's favor. Now, if there weren't for the Celestial Wizard, I might be able to do it. But again, I'm pretty close to army losses, so that's going to be a factor as well. I have a lot of leadership issues because my army is so tattered as well, or I wouldn't even say tattered, but just non-existent, right? But yeah, I mean, the Celestial Wizard takes a hit from my Tomb Prince right there, but he also is able to finish him off, so he's wavering. Just everything's wavering. Such an incredibly close battle, so very well played in my opponent. It was a super intense game. It was down to the wire. It was very fun to play. And yeah, can't say much more, but aside from, he brought a very different build than I'm used to seeing, right? Most Empire players I play against are using state troops. They're using like 2 Demogryph Knights, 2 Knights of the Blazing Sun, sometimes Hammer of the Witches, but it's a little bit more aggressive with a heavy cab and things like that. So his build definitely caught me off guard. The 4 Greatswords, we didn't have the hardest time dealing with them. They still did some pretty good work, but the Celestial Wizard was an MVP. His Pistoliers were really, really solid. I mean, they were able to just harass and poke me down. The Hammer of the Witches and the positioning it had on that map was very, very good as well. It was very tough for me to get anything back there because the fight took place so far away from the cannon. So yeah, it was just a really solid, kind of cool build from my opponent. Definitely some beautiful Celestial Wizard play. Boris Todbringer was able to get some good strikes. We had some good counterattacks as well. We were able to rampage him, get some really good sniping with the Tomb Princes going after him. We finished off the Demogryph Knights pretty efficiently. They didn't really do a whole lot of anything, so we had some good counterplay there, but ultimately the Hammer of the Witches was able to just pound home Arkin the Black, and the Celestial Wizard was able to ravage our infantry just so hard. So very well played to my opponent, Witchfinder General. Look forward to running into you again on ladder, and hopefully you guys, I was like, for some reason my brain was like thinking the Flock of the Jaff because I was just playing a Tomb King campaign, but hopefully you guys have a good time watching this game or had a good time, and we will see you guys next time. Have an excellent night, guys. Take care.